Sounds good.
There we are. Oh, and then I totally forgot to do something to finish setting us up. Great, awesome. We're firing on all cylinders today, guys. How's that how's that going? We are live.
Someone missed their cup of coffee today.
We are barely functioning. Um, oh man. All right, there we go. The slideshow is up. We are displaying everything and living our best lives now, huh?
I'm on a little bit of a delay, so right now, displaying everything definitely looks like a blank screen.
It definitely looks like a blank screen still. Excellent. Now it should be coming live here in just a
Yep, there it is.
second.
There
All
it
right,
is. I see it.
perfect.
Mama Kelsey and the Kelsey brothers. I
With the
see it.
Kelsey brothers. All
Yeah.
right, yeah, the Kelsey Bowl coming up here shortly.
The
Man,
Kelsey Bowl, the Reed Bowl, the uh, McCoy Bowl, the Sean Barber Bowl,
Doug
the
Peterson Bowl, do we call it that even
Doug
though he's not
Peterson
involved?
Bowl, Nick
Oh man.
Nick
Nick
Foles?
Sirianni, Nick Foles Bowl, Nick Sirianni
Oh my
Bowl.
god, y'all.
A lot of ties. A
A
lot
lot
of
of
ties
ties.
between
Yeah,
these two teams, which
tons
is
of ties.
why I think the fan bases are being eerily respectful to each other
Yeah,
online.
I,
You
I
know,
So respectful
it's very
that
strange. I'm not used to this.
Arrowhead East is not going to be open on Super Bowl Sunday in Philly out of
Right.
respect for everybody.
wow,
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
that's
Um,
crazy.
the owner, ticket sales for seats in his bar was going so crazy, but just out of respect for being able to accommodate everybody and like the feelings on both sides, he's closed on Super Bowl Sunday. We'll
So,
reopen for whatever the results are on Monday.
are you referring to Big Charlie's?
Yeah.
That's a shame. I actually didn't know
Ready?
that they'd be closed. That's
Hmm.
surprisingly. This is because I kind of small side. I've been getting all my Super Bowl more than usual Chiefs media in, like, like a little bit more than usual just because of the occasion, right? And I caught this thing on NFL Films from YouTube, and it was about a 3-year-old video, but they do a spotlight on Big Charlie's over in Philadelphia, so it's a huge Chiefs bar, and so they actually took the NFL Films crew. It was really cool. It's definitely check it out if you guys get the time.
Yeah.
They went out there in 2003 with Dick Vermeil and those guys. They went out there and
Dick
hung
Vermeil
out at the
Bowl.
bar. Yeah,
There's another
they're
one.
Right.
right. But yeah, they hung out there. They met the guys. They like filmed a bunch of footage and everything. Then they came back several years later to talk to the same owner, talk to his kids who are much grown older now, and then they filmed like their reaction watching the Super Bowl. I was like, that is really cool. This is why I love NFL films, that they do shit stuff like this. Sorry, y'all. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool to watch. So I'm surprised. I was like, man, that would be. I was saying the top three places to probably watch the game this weekend. Number one would be at the actual game, right? But number two, I would have said the Plaza Power and Light District. Number three, I would have said Charlie. So I'm actually a little surprised that they aren't open. But I get what you're saying. It's a kind of a brotherly love respect thing. So I get that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was kind of, yeah, it was one of those articles. I was like, wow, that's a big move.
Unexpected. You'd think that'd
Hmm.
be the perfect time to be open. So I get
Because
it though.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it just is one of those bars that it's just got such a great presence, and they welcome fans from both sides, obviously, but it is definitely a Chiefs bar. It's definitely a Chiefs place, and there's a big Chiefs presence in Philly. So
Yeah. I mean, I know we're all being respectful now, but I think we also know how Philly fans are after a major sports
oh,
event, whether they win or
yeah.
lose. So I wouldn't be surprised if the little bit of that came into play too. They're like, let's just not risk it.
That's why it's surprising. I'm like, are these
Hmm.
the same Philly fans that I know from other
It's coming.
events?
Don't worry, it's
I
Right.
coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that like 49ers fans and Bengals fans were just unbearably like just unbearable. The whole weeks leading up to the championship. So we've been able to spend the last week and change just continuously making fun of the people we just beat. And then you know what? Hey, maybe New Heights is really just bringing the olive branch around, right? Like everyone's still enjoying listening to the Kelsey brothers, talking about sports. I've been listening to finally catching up on all the podcast this weekend. It's so fun to hear them talk to each other, and it's probably a little bit of a brokerage going on there, right? Like they're helping keep the peace by, of course, being cordial with each other.
Right. Well,
I'm definitely
I
excited for
don't
that
mind it so
podcast
far.
after the Super Bowl to see what
After,
what they're going to be saying to each other. Oh, that's for sure. That'll be a fun one. Maybe they'll just send Ed and Donna on there to do the podcast, and they won't even show up for it. So
oh,
wouldn't
wouldn't
that
that
be
be so
great?
sweet?
Wouldn't that be great? All right.
What a week it's been for them. I know we're gonna talk about it, but holy
Right.
cow, y'all. I can't even imagine like how amazing, what an experience it is. Like Mama Kelsey's wearing her Eagles/Chiefs jersey. Both her boys are playing. Oh my gosh, what a
Yeah.
moment for the
Yeah.
family.
So you're
Ah,
obviously the only mom here, but also the only person with kids here. Where would you be at mentally if you had this happening for you? Having a kid
I
playing against each other in the Super
ah
Bowl.
She has two sons too, so she
It's
definitely
gonna
can.
right?
happen. It's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
Like,
yeah.
oh, I I don't know. I don't know. And I think the way that she said it is best. She's cheering for offense. She's cheering for a really high scoring game.
Absolutely.
She's cheering for offense, for both sides. I don't know. I'm sure they are so proud, and I just
Yeah.
can't even imagine like all the emotions, all the feelings. But just getting to watch both your sons play in the biggest moment in NFL stage, at the same time, it's incredible. It's
Living
just
their
absolutely
dream.
What
incredible. I would just be sitting there smiling, both sides. I'd be clapping all game long. I'd be like, yeah, uh-huh.
w- would you love the son who won more than the other one?
No, God, no. What kind of question's that?
See,
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I think that's the other thing, win or lose, your kids are your kids, like and I know there's always, and as competitive as I am, and I always giggle when I come across that speech that says, okay, when we get out there's a winner and there's a loser, and if your parents tell you otherwise, your parents are losers. So
there you go.
I would love them both the same.
Love that
Regardless, I
energy.
would love my
Yeah.
winner. I would love my loser, and say, "Hey, boys, we still need to get along. You'll have another opportunity some other time."
I mean, yeah, and people are making a big deal about, oh my gosh, what will you do with the loser or whatever. I mean, I don't have kids. I'm not a mom. I can't really speak to it, but if I were to put myself in those shoes, can I just add one little inkling of a
Uh-huh.
of a counterpoint? They're both millionaires,
Right,
grown men. They're
right.
they're, they're fine.
They're both
Exactly.
And they
incredibly
Right?
successful.
It's the
yeah, and
NFL. It's not like watching your kids in like Little League or Pop Warner or, something else.
and they and
Yeah,
they both
the
won
grown men.
Super Bowls already.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're fine. It's a
Yeah.
win-win and Jason's gonna have a baby girl. It's a win-win for that family, no matter what the result of the scoreboard
Hmm.
is,
And
And
in my
Travis is
opinion.
living his very best life. So,
right.
Exactly.
They're living the dream out there. All right,
right.
Absolutely.
we've put it off, but the Positive Yard Super Bowl edition, Raw, you had an idea here. A little bit of a
Yeah.
change from the usual Positive Yards format.
Yeah, and of course we could still do if you guys had something like super great
Uh-oh.
going on this weekend. I mean, feel free to chime in with it. But yeah, I just want to start by saying, and this sounds like cap, but it's not. Uh, the Super Bowl really is maybe my second favorite holiday. Yes, holiday next to Christmas. I'm not kidding. Like I love this game. Like it's the epitomizes my love for football as a football fan, and I pretty much remember what I was doing for almost every game that I've watched
Mm-hmm.
That's
up
amazing.
until this point. Like going back to uh 2002 when I was a kid watching I think that might have been my first Super Bowl watching that I paid attention to, right? The 2002 game
Hmm.
was Patriots, Panthers, and Janet Jackson, right? Let's just keep it like, we'll
Mm.
stop right there. I remember that though.
Of course you
I
do. I do
remember that.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
my earliest one also. Well,
yeah.
or wait, no, was Was that the one that was for the 2002 season, or
2002 season.
and that happened in
2000
2003?
Played in 2003.
I think I
Yeah.
remember the 2001 season played in 2002 because that's the one where U2 was the halftime show, right? And they had the
Sure.
huge memorial kind
For
of for
9/11.
9/11, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah.
one. Okay.
That's
I
the
don't remember who was
2001
playing.
season.
That's all I remember happening in that game, but I'm sure
Well,
probably the Patriots because it seems like every
yeah,
Super
it
Bowl
was
has had the
Ugh,
Patriots.
right? Yeah.
it was their first one.
It's their
It was
first one.
their first.
Perfect.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was their first win. Yeah,
See, it really was.
Patriots and the greatest show
Buccaneers,
on
was
turf.
it? Oh, no. Okay, was the
Greatest,
Rams?
yeah. That was that's the following year. What you're
That's
thinking of?
funny.
That was Raiders Bucks. I've got a lot of Super
Bucks.
Bowl stuff written down, right?
I
So
love
Look at you.
been doing my
Beautiful.
research. But I wanted to say so also just even the media days. I'm not kidding with it, but I remember being like 2014 watching the entire media day with the Seattle Seahawks and the
And
Patriots
just
and
here
thinking
so I
how
won't
cool
get
they're
fined.
exactly and thinking how cool the media jackets were and all that stuff. So this is really like it's on the level for me.
The
It's
media jackets are always really cool. I
Aren't they?
mean,
Aren't
oh, I want one.
they? I bought one. I bought one last night.
Did you?
You agree? Oh,
I
you
just bought
already
one
got
last
gear.
night.
Look at you.
Yes,
Look at
I
that.
saw. I said
Yeah.
I'm getting that. I seen Mahomes and Hurts sitting together with the
That's all
with
you
those
needed to
jackets on.
see. That's
was like, I'm
all
getting
you
one.
needed to
I'm
see.
getting one.
Sold.
Yeah, I didn't get the white ones
too.
from the previous years because I don't buy a lot of
Mhm.
white stuff. I feel like they get dirty pretty easily. But yeah,
Mhm.
but anyway, I say all that to say it's one of my favorite holidays, right, or times of the year.
Okay.
We'll say that. We'll say it. But obviously, I think our number one favorite memory each would probably be what the Chiefs winning, right? That's nothing's
Always.
gonna
See,
top that. The
and
first one,
yeah,
nothing's
so
gonna top
I
that.
think that's number one for both of us. So I was definitely thinking
Yeah.
of ones outside of that. I don't also
No-
remember much of that game. I'm not gonna lie. So I had to play a lot of catch up the next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Watching
Yeah,
highlights.
I mean, I get it. I think in the moment, I was. It was funny because I was the only Chiefs fan at my Super Bowl party that I
Oh
hosted.
yeah.
Oh my
Them
gosh.
boys going into the
Perfect.
fourth quarter, you just see everybody looking at me and like, "You gonna be all right, bro?"
No, I'm not. And I think I
But
called
we did
every
it.
member of my family, crying tears of happiness, and they were all just like, "Please leave me alone."
Yeah,
Please. Please.
And then I broke our
right.
shoe rack falling on it, so that was yeah.
You
So...
okay. Falling on it, not like
Yeah,
intentionally
Oh
trying
no,
to be
no,
a jerkus. Okay, got it.
but
no.
we did it, and I want to say, I'm just gonna say real quick, my second most memorable moment watching the Super Bowl was, I'm gonna say it. I know Hong's not gonna like it, but it was 28-3.
The
Right?
comeback.
Like where
That's my number two.
I
Yeah.
stopped watching and I went I went away. I went downstairs because I was staying at my buddy's house in Virginia. I was like, we were like, oh, this game sucks. I'm gonna go, get packed and ready because I'm flying out tomorrow. I'm gonna just go get all my stuff together or whatever. And then he's like, bro, you gotta come back upstairs. You know?
Get back up
He's
here
like-
right now.
He's like, bro, get up here right now. And yeah, we witnessed probably one of the craziest comebacks the craziest comeback in Super Bowl history. So yeah, that'd be
You
number two.
walked away from that?
It was 28-3.
You walked?
It was 28-3. What do you mean? They weren't
And
coming back.
I stayed
where we
tuned for the
thought.
whole thing, and that was.
We
That's
thought.
what I'm saying.
I said it's
Wow.
over. It's over.
Wait,
The-
how did
I
I
said-
not know that until tonight that you walked away from what?
I don't think we talk about
Ooh.
Patriots Falcons that much on this podcast. So that,
Yeah, probably not. Well, like surprise,
Yeah.
like you like left your screen, like
yeah,
still the Super Bowl. It's just like, I
Sure.
mean, like as much as you say like this is like your next to Christmas, it's your favorite and everything. Like I don't care who plays in it either. Like I always watch it, right?
yeah.
And,
I watch
and,
it
you know,
for no
and,
other
and
reason
that,
for the commercials. Yeah, like even if they're down
exactly, right?
25
Your
points.
entertainment
Yeah.
factor.
I'll say.
But no,
I'll say.
it just
There's one other that I didn't watch. And
Okay.
Understandably so. Well, that in recent years, 2018, couldn't do it.
Which
do it.
was
I
that one?
watched. That was Rams Patriots, the one we should have been in.
Oh,
yeah,
and
that was a
also
difficult one.
subsequently the most boring Super Bowl possibly ever.
It really was
But,
awfully
I mean,
boring.
I will say I liked it just because I do enjoy seeing good defense. And that game brought us nothing but good defense. Some of it
Yeah.
at the cost of good offense. It's not like the offenses on either side were firing very well. But yeah, that game ended 10-3 or whatever. Is that right?
Yeah, it was extremely low scoring. It was awful.
Yeah. No, and it
Oof.
was it would have been really nice if we had made it to that one because I feel like we would have won that one, seeing how the Rams were playing in that game.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Man, shoot, I'm trying to think of other ones for me. Typically I cheer for whatever AFC team is in the Super Bowl.
Right.
If the Raiders make it, no, but even any other team, including Chargers, Broncos. So there was that one where it was the Broncos Panthers, Peyton Manning's last game out there. Traveled out to
Hmm.
Manhattan to see one of my friends. He had written out like this little mini movie theater kind of thing, and we watched the game there. He was a huge Panthers fan, so he was excited for at least the first 10 minutes until it became very clear who was going to win
Poor
that game.
guy.
But yeah, I was out there. It's like all right, secretly cheering on the Broncos a little bit because I've always loved Peyton Manning, and so for no other reason I'd be
Yes.
cheering for him. And then supporting the AFC team there. I really enjoyed that game because it was just a fun experience. A massive group of people just all hanging out watching the game in like a little theater. That was fun. That was a good time. Definitely not something I would ever want to do for a Chiefs game. The thought of being around that many people when depression can very quickly set in doesn't spark my fancy anymore. But yeah, for games that like the Chiefs aren't involved in, that was something I would definitely wouldn't shy away from doing again.
There we go. Yeah. Shoot, I lost what I was going to say. It came up as you were talking, and now I cannot recall.
Now it's lost.
Now
Um,
it's lost.
Man, I'm trying to think of some other good ones. So, like, I think some of my earliest NFL based memories would have to be around Greatest Show on Turf. That's when I started playing fantasy football. Our I was in elementary school then, and we had this like after school thing our school did activity, whatever. You sign up for different clubs essentially, and participate in those clubs. Frankly, an excuse for our parents to not have to deal with us, a couple extra hours every week. And one of the things I signed up for was fantasy football, but the guy who was leading the club, the teacher who was leading that club, I did it all via paper. We didn't do it using the internet at all. So, every week we'd have our team, we'd pick our lineups, we'd put them down on a piece of paper, we'd have somebody who we were going against, deciding which players we were starting, sitting, and all that kind of stuff. And then the Tuesday after, so after the Monday night games, we'd have the newspapers from the weekend with all the stats for the players, and then we would have to calculate how many points we scored, and all that kind of stuff. So it was math hidden behind fantasy football kind of thing. But that's like I think when I truly found my love for football. I definitely enjoyed it just like playing around, kicking around as a kid, but that helped me understand the sport and concepts behind it a lot better. And I remember a lot because I had Marshall Falk as my running back on my team, and of course he was just tearing up the league that year. And then I had Isaac Bruce, who's just, of course, yeah, absolute monster. I don't think I had anyone from the Chiefs because we were god awful back then.
Yeah.
But it's like I think that was like my first real NFL memory, and then of course the Super Bowl that came with that. And my mom was a huge Kurt Warner fan because she always loves that underdog story. She's always all that bad, and constantly going on. They found him bagging groceries, and he just won the Super Bowl. I'm like, I don't give a crap, mom. It's like okay, I get it. But yeah, I remember that Super Bowl quite clear. I think that's the earliest Super Bowl memory I have, and so that's a good one.
Nice, nice. Absolutely.
I
Well,
like it.
yeah. Good deal. Well, cool. Some great stuff. Thank y'all for indulging that with me.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That was fun to run down that little memory
little
lane.
memory lane.
Yeah.
I know you had, so you said something about the merch too, right? And you mentioned buying a media jacket. What about other merch related items when it comes to the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, that was the second question. Which this is something I actually took a poll on our Twitter. And I can tell y'all the results here. Let me pull it up. So just out of curiosity, because I saw, I stay on Chiefs Twitter, just kind of,
I've never
just kind
noticed.
of,
Not at all.
right? Either trolling or I mean, mostly not trolling, I would say. But yeah, okay. So we took a poll, just because I was curious. I saw a tweet about somebody saying they didn't like the jackets, and then other people talking about their superstitions where I won't be buying anything until after the Super Bowl. So I was just curious. So I put a poll out there and said, will you be purchasing Super Bowl 57 gear now, or will you be waiting for the results of the game? So we got 147 votes, and 80% said they're going to wait till after the game. 20% said they were going to buy now. So I definitely want to get you guys' personal thoughts on that as well.
I wait. I took that poll of yours. I wait till afterwards.
Sure. Okay. Why is that?
So,
Superstition?
yeah, I don't know. Like, I've never purchased in the 3 appearances that we've had. I've never purchased anything before.
Gotcha. What about you, bro?
So I'll wait.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even buy it.
Okay.
Even if we do
Fair
win.
enough. Sure.
Most of the Chiefs stuff I have was gifts for me. I don't even have a jersey right now.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, so I was massively into it younger and stuff, and then just as I got older, I don't know why I just started losing interest in it as much. Probably because I was just spending all my money on soccer scarves and jerseys, but
Gotcha. I was gonna say basically me and Hong are children, but no, you just switched sports. That's
I
what that
just
is.
switched sports is what my problem was.
Yeah.
No, I think like for me, I just kind of hit a point where it's like Chiefs gear hasn't changed, in 20 years. If I had a Chiefs t-shirt from, 95, it'd look the same as
Dude, that would be
something
amazing
to
right now
current
if you
day.
had a
Oh
Yeah.
God, wouldn't that
Well,
be
well,
cool?
let
you
me
had some vintage stuff.
let me ask you this, and let me broaden that. Championship, like whether it's soccer or
Yeah.
anything, like your team wins or your team is going to the championship. They start selling championship merch. Do you mess with that at all before or after? You just don't even like none of it.
Yeah, for sporting, I definitely have a couple of scarves from championships. I do have a championship hoodie too, but that one was bought for me, and I think that's typically what does happen is that people will buy it for like either my birthday or for Christmas because the soccer season ends shortly before Christmas and the football season ends shortly before my birthday. So typically, that's when not just that championship merch is out, but merch in general ends up also hitting the sale. So people know it's an easy gift for me. So that's typically when I get that kind of stuff is for my birthday or for Christmas, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Chiefs wise, I think I do have like a post Chiefs celebratory Super Bowl shirt. Can't remember. I have like 3 or 4 shirts. I'm pretty sure that's one of them, and I know that was bought for me for my birthday from my mom.
Sure.
So, yeah, I typically just don't because either no interest or somebody buys it for me already, so I don't need
Right.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, me and Hong both have like probably too much Chiefs gear
you,
together all
you
together.
guys,
I
Um,
have like a third of my hanging closet space is Chiefs gear.
if you ever watch
So
Hong's TikToks,
it's true.
it's very
Yeah,
very rare you'll find one that she's not wearing Chiefs gear on.
not right. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's not a lie. And my friend
Yeah.
who's like a big Seattle Seahawks fan, he's like, I was gonna comment on your video and say, as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I could totally vouch for the fact that this woman wears this crap every day.
Oh, someone said that.
beautiful,
He said he wanted to comment that. He's like, no, but I thought I'd pull
Oh,
that.
okay, I see.
beautiful.
Okay,
Oh, that's
okay.
funny.
Well,
But yeah, so between the gear, the hats,
yeah.
the flags I'm looking at hanging on my walls right now, like there are some nights where I lay in bed and I'm like, you know, probably would not be a good idea for like a 41-year-old woman to have like throw pillows that are Chiefs on her bed. I don't.
Yes.
No, you need to
Do what
buy
makes
them.
you
You need to
happy.
buy them. Yeah,
Yeah, it makes you
I
happy.
have
embrace
throw
it.
pillows on my couch stand in the living room, but I was like, and because they make like all their Chiefs bedding and stuff, which I don't think I'd ever have.
I
But I was like,
guarantee I'll be
oh,
in the nursing home with a Mahomes jersey on. I
Oh
don't
hell
care.
yeah,
I guarantee you.
love that.
But yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. So
But
yeah.
but I have a lot. I'll tell you for that first Super Bowl, I bought like a lot of stuff. I
Sure.
Well, this is the first 50 years. That's
Yeah,
understandable.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like we
Right.
went kind of crazy and bought a bunch of stuff. I waited till
Yes.
afterwards, of course, and then I bought a few things. But see, even in my position, like I can't buy a ton of stuff at one time because I already have so much stuff that I have to be like,
Yeah,
is this I have to kind of Marie Kondo it. Is it gonna bring me
sure.
joy? And of course the answer is yes. I mean,
Yeah,
Right. So then you have to full send that. Like
yeah,
I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I'm thinking like it was a superstition that really kind of started to play into it for me because as a kid
sure.
I definitely, had a lot, bought a lot, wore a lot, even through college, and we were terrible all those years, right?
I'll tell you, that's most of the
hmm
people in
Yeah.
most of the people who responded to our poll. A lot of them said superstition
Yeah,
played a role on why
superstition.
they do not.
Yeah.
See,
And
I can
I,
respect that.
yeah, and I get that. I get that. I'll tell you why I do. And this is not just me. There's a few people who
Oh yeah.
said the opposite. The reason why I think it's cool to get this stuff, one is because I have a history as just wanting something and I wait too long and it's gone.
Oh
Right? It's
yeah.
sold out. Most of the
Especially
time,
this
I'm just
stuff. This is so limited
yeah,
run.
this
You
type of
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two, I think it's just cool for kind of things. It's part of the memory to me. Like if it's something you like, it's part of the memory. Win or lose, there's plenty of team sports fan bases who don't have any Super Bowl gear whatsoever.
Right.
Right. And if I'm buying like a T-shirt or something that has this year's Super Bowl on it, and I'm using it to work out at the gym, I don't think anybody's gonna come up to me, but they lost that one. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
You know what I mean? Now I will say, I did buy two things. The first Super Bowl I bought a ton of stuff, right? And I still have most of it. The second one I bought two jerseys. Now I don't really buy as many jerseys as I used to. I
Mhm.
ended up getting a custom one, and that was the first one I've bought. I guess since 2 years ago when we had the last Super Bowl, right? But the jerseys had the Super Bowl 55 patch on it,
Mhm.
which of course we know we lost. Now I did return one of them, but I didn't return the other just because I thought it was cool looking. It's black. It's a black Mahomes jersey. It has black red lettering. It has the Super Bowl 55 patch on it. Now, being like, I'm like, that is the one we lost. What I did. You guys don't think I'm a crazy person, but I'll tell you what I actually ended up doing. I ordered a Super Bowl 54 patch and pasted it on the
Oh,
other side of
beautiful.
the jersey. And so it has both of them on there. And I think what I'm gonna
Nice.
just do with that one is just any Super Bowl we go to in the Mahomes era, I'm gonna add a patch on it.
Oh, I like that.
I like it.
You know what I mean? So
I like
that's just I don't know. It's just part of the memory. I think it's fun. I think this is an era. We might as well live it up. So win or lose, yeah, if you want it, get it. If you want to wait, that's fine too. Like
hmm
just do it. Fan how you want to fan. I love it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
I just thought it'd be fun to ask those kind of questions. I was just
yeah.
curious.
Well, and
Well, it gets people talking.
one thing
It's a
Yeah.
I
great
have thought
conversation.
about doing, especially if we like win this one and maybe even going back to the other one that we won, is buying a custom jersey and putting the name on the back of it as Super Bowl and then the number
Yeah.
57. I think doing
Yeah.
stuff like that is really cool.
Really cool.
I've kind of fallen out of love of buying like player jerseys and all that kind of stuff.
Because they keep
For
doing stuff.
Yeah,
It's
right. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to have to
you
look
want
at
to
a
buy.
jersey and think, man, that dude's in, whatever kind of thing, right?
Yeah, man.
It's,
Miami.
well, I
And I
mean,
had to put
Well, even
$50
worse. You
you
said
know,
jersey
Miami.
on it.
I'm more concerned about the ones going to jail. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I'm saying.
Oh
Yeah.
But
God.
yeah, or yeah, something as bad as like going to Miami, or heavens forbid they end up at the Raiders. Um,
Lord.
yeah, so yeah, no, I think doing that stuff because like one thing I did is I did buy a sporting jersey that was like a retro one and then put on the back of it established and then 95, which is the year that MLS started. I thought about doing something similar with like a Chiefs one. What was that? 67 is when the NFL was. I can't remember. Doing something like that established and then the year that it all got established. I like that kind of stuff. So maybe doing one with Super Bowl 57 on the back when we win this one would be a lot of fun. So
Capitalism, people. Buy
capitalism,
into it.
man.
That's the
I'm
word
telling you,
message of the day.
I'm so
People.
excited to give these millionaires and billionaires more of my money.
More exactly. All right. Let's jump into the game. We
Oh,
spent half
jeez.
an hour. That was a great talk, by the way. I love that. I really did. Thank you guys for indulging. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about the biggest game of the year, the last game of the year.
Yeah,
Your Kansas
barbecue
City
versus
Chiefs.
cheesesteaks. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, we don't have time for our game. I wanted to play a
No,
game.
we need to talk about which one's the
But
better food.
real quick, quick takes. I'm taking barbecue.
Oh gosh. You know what? No, I gotta stay true. Barbecue, just more variety. You know.
Oh, you put it on
Definitely
there.
gotta do
I did put it on
barbecue.
here. Are
Come
you
on,
kidding me?
y'all.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm so on a delay. I was like, which is the best?
Which is, I mean, I love a good cheesesteak. Don't get me wrong, especially if you get some cheese whiz in there. Whew, but yeah, are you kidding me? The Z-Man from Joe's here in town. I mean, there is
Yeah,
not a more perfect sandwich in the entire world.
absolutely. Oh, okay, I'll mess with that. I'll say I've been to Philly. I've had their famous cheesesteaks. And even the ones that they're most hyped aren't even like the best ones
Oh,
to
some
me.
of those are
Like,
super commercialized. Yeah.
yeah, Geno's and Pat's not even the
Yeah.
best. Jim's on South Street, that's the best.
Yeah.
All that being said, barbecue all day. Kansas City barbecue all day. So yeah. Sorry, Philly. I'll say this though. I'll give them points on Actually, no, I'm not giving no points this week. We can talk about that next week. We can give no
We'll
points.
give him the consolation prize next week, right?
Yeah. They got Meek Mill. I like Meek Mill, so I'll say that. And Kobe. Meek Mill and Kobe. That's what y'all got.
All right.
But yeah, Chiefs are they the underdogs right now?
So
I didn't check the latest odds.
all the bookies have them down 1.5. So
Okay, that's the last one I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's
And we're
been
still
changed.
days
It's flipped.
away, so who knows
Yeah.
how it'll change.
Yeah, it's gone
It's
like either
probably more,
way. It's essentially a coin flip.
Yes. Yeah, at this point, when you're separated by the only lower you could get is by 0.5 instead of by 1.5. So they're essentially one step off of a literal coin flip here. It's not like you're going to make big money betting on the Chiefs or anything, but all the bookies are calling us the underdog. I'm sure a lot of that, one of the things we'll have to talk about is probably the injuries that are really factoring in, and not just the injury to Mahomes, and then if Kelsey's still having back spasms, which I don't think he is, those are pretty well cleared. But we sent one wide receiver back to IR. We have no clue whatsoever what our receiver core is going to look like
Right.
for this coming game. Our defense, a little bit of injury issues there too. I haven't looked at the latest injury report, so hopefully you guys have more information on that. But I could see that as being the reason.
Everybody practiced.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to
Did he?
say. Yeah, they're
Good.
playing. The only person we know that's not for sure not playing is Miko Harden.
All right.
Anybody
Right, who
else?
went to
It's going to happen on the field. They're going to at least get a snap. Every
Good.
single guy.
Good.
Yeah. This is the time they're going to be there. So I think now Mahomes has been saying you can tell from his interviews. He doesn't give away much, but you can tell from his interviews he's still dealing with some ankle issues. But just like last week, they'll get him taped up. They'll get him ready. I mean, and he's had a lot more rest. So I am hoping that does help. So they're all playing. I'm sorry to hear McColl's not. I do think this is probably the last time we see him as a Chief. But I mean, hopefully, we can get out there, get that dub, and then we'll talk about what happens next once the game's over.
Crazy.
Yeah, would have been nice to have him, but we just need the other guys to play their role, know their role, like Travis Kelce. Look, don't shut their mouths.
Don't be a jabroni.
Yeah.
Do not be a jabroni.
Yeah,
You're warned.
Bro, I already know what Rihanna's first song is going to be, don't you?
No,
It was in the
I
script.
don't know a single Rihanna song. I'm not gonna lie. So
Did you finally see Wakanda Forever?
yes, I did.
I guarantee you that's going to be the first song.
Oh,
the one at
okay.
the end
One of
credits.
the-
I guarantee you that's
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking
I
too,
did.
Raw.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Bro,
Mhm.
it's Black History Month. They're gonna play this up. They're gonna come out. They're gonna have her come out and do the Wakanda Forever.
She'll be in a Black Panther suit. She'll be
Yeah,
ready to go.
and that would be dope. I'd be like,
Yeah, sign me up. Yeah. No,
That would be an amazing tribute too. So
actually, it would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool.
it'd be a
But
nice touch.
I have a feeling that's gonna be her first song. I didn't put money on that, but if you're a gambler and you want to go bet what Rihanna's first song is, trust me.
that one.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
okay.
Don't come for me if you lose money.
No, I'm
come for
gonna
me.
put $5 on it, and when I lose,
Yeah, don't come for me.
So okay, I know that it wasn't on our slides, but like can we also kind of touch on how the fact that like you can bet on like anything in Super Bowl props, you know?
I've already placed bets.
Ross already bet on
But like
I've
everything.
been
no,
on
not
this.
no, not like I'm like yeah, you place bets, but like literally you could bet on like every aspect of the
Yeah,
game and the non-game.
Oh yeah.
that's what I'm saying. The
Every
boys want to win
year,
some money.
every year for our Super Bowl parties, we do what are they called? Are they just called prop sheets or whatever? You know, it'd be things like, you know, what will the coin toss be? What will this be? What will
What
that
color
be?
is the
Blah blah blah.
Gatorade? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Color of the
Yep.
Gatorade that gets dumped. We do those every, you know, for bragging rights. We don't never put any money in on them. That's always a lot of fun. I'll definitely shoot around the one that we do at our Super Bowl party to you two also if you want to virtually take place with it. I know we're gonna have a few people over here for it,
Be
so
fun,
I'm
Billy.
excited. I've put money on the Chiefs to win. I can't remember if I've done any prop bets or not yet. When sports betting went live in Kansas, you know, like all the bookkeepers were throwing out, you know, 4 free $25 bets and all that kind of stuff, and I did put quite a few of those on the Chiefs to win the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So I, you know, $300 richer after our last win, and hopefully $500 richer after this coming one. Be nice.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah. No, we're going to be doing
Yeah,
that, so I don't
cool.
know. I think this is actually the only slide I had for the Chiefs game, so
For the
or
game,
for the Super Bowl. Yeah, what did I do on this other? Yep. I had to slap these slides together real quick right before since I had a busy work day, so I didn't fill out
sure,
anything else on here because I figured we'd just talk about the game overall, what we're looking
sure.
forward to, what we're going to be looking out for. I mean, yeah, I think the one thing we do really have to focus on a lot is our injuries. You know, I know people are practicing or are, you know, questionable for the game or going to want to play. We all know Mikol's out, and like you said, it's probably his last snap as a Chief. Short of him coming back on the cheap, if he comes back with a cheaper contract, I wouldn't be surprised if we did keep him. But no, I think you're right. Unfortunately, we have seen the end of him. He'll get a Super Bowl ring, which will be, you know, well earned and well deserved for the role he has played this year. But
Yeah,
I think you're right. You know, going back on IR, abdominal issue, pelvic issue, that sucks.
yeah, and it's a shame. I don't think this is the end of his NFL career. I don't think he's going to be back here, but I think he's proven he has the potential. Maybe
Uh
it
huh.
didn't work out here the way we wanted, but I do believe get him in the right system, it'll work out somewhere. I'd be really surprised if he comes back. I'll be really surprised if him or CEH come back, to be honest. But
Yeah, CEH for sure. The latest injury report on the Chiefs website has Juju, Sneed, and Tony as all questionable. Not practicing at all last week, but they have practiced this week, is what you all said.
yeah,
Yes, and
been
Sneed is
full
out of
consistent.
concussion
He's
protocol,
out of
so that's a
Yes,
concussion.
good thing.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Mhm.
yeah. He if y'all checked out the media day last night, yeah, he said he's been cleared. Definitely expecting to see him on the field, which is, whew, I mean, shout out to the rookies. They did their role, in the AFC Championship. But it's gonna be good to have him back out there, and hopefully,
For
he can play the
sure.
whole game.
Uh,
And so, yeah,
did you see the stat that I had no clue about? Duffy, when he's out there, we haven't allowed a 300 passer game.
I hadn't seen that, but
300
that's
yard
dope.
game. Yeah, when he's
Yeah,
out there on the field as a starter, like the 4 games that he wasn't out there, opposing quarterback threw over 300 yards, and then when he was, no success there,
absolutely.
zero clue. So yeah, I mean, talk
Let
about
me tell you something.
rookie stepping up.
Let me tell you something. Jalen Hurts ain't throwing 300 yards.
No,
No, this. I mean, you
no, he
obviously
won't.
he's a
How
baller.
many
He's
is
a
he running?
gamer.
Yeah,
How
He
many
might
is he
run.
running?
He might run
that's the
300
question.
yards.
Okay, because that's the other
That's the
aspect
question.
He
we
might
watch
run
for. You
300
know what I
yards.
Yeah,
mean?
he
Yeah,
might
he
throw.
Like,
might
yeah,
run
you might
300.
not be throwing that through the air, but how about on the
Yeah,
ground?
He
yeah,
might run 300 yards. Absolutely.
yeah. He might run 300 yards. But he ain't throwing it, and I think that's gonna play into our advantage. They haven't faced a team like us, uh, and I think what's going to really help us is the fact that, I mean, they have a great run game. But if we can get ahead early, it's gonna be hard for them to catch up. Like they're not built to come from behind. If we score early
Right.
and we stay ahead, so I think the biggest
Well, and I
that's
don't
one
want to
of the
get
bigger
overly
advantage.
confident
No,
because
no, I'm
like
not. No, 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 no.
we started well and we
Yeah,
started strong,
yeah,
when we played our AFC Championship game, and
sure.
that's exactly what we need to do here. We
Hmm.
need to come out confident. We need to come out playing strong, playing all
Right.
phases of football, all four quarters, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not let it be too big for us. Like, oh yeah, we've been here before, Like
Trust me.
it just oof, oof.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm not being overly confident against the
Oh, I
defense
know you
who's put
not,
up
Mr. I picked the Bengals. So
70. No, 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 no. I wasn't the only one. For I like to
I know.
keep putting that out there. A lot of your favorite, your not yours. I'm talking about Chiefs Kingdom. Your local
Hmm.
sports casters all picked the Bengals. So I was wrong
Right.
about
And
that.
they
They were wrong,
legit good
and I had to be
reason. You know
wrong.
what I mean? They
Yeah,
had legitimate reason. The
and
Bengals have had our numbers the last several times. So,
we
and it's
still
one of
only
those
won by
things.
3 points. We still only won
Right.
by 3 points. We didn't kick their
Exactly.
ass. Yeah,
Right.
like that's what makes a
It
rivalry,
could have
though.
been anybody's game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just one of
that's what makes it a
those
rivalry.
opponents that makes it exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely, but no, we'll save our predictions to the end. But I'll say it's not as doom as gloom as last week. But I will say
Right.
that defense is their defense, the what 70 sacks, third all time in
Yeah.
NFL history.
Yeah. Their
That's no
defense is
joke.
terrifying.
That's
If
no
they
joke.
even come at Patrick with any of that business,
Hmm.
Mama
Yeah,
Kelsey, I'm gonna need you to go out there for me because I'm not gonna physically be there. So I need you to handle business.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I know we've been talking about the Chiefs injuries. I think the Philly injuries are good to review too. The two key ones, of
Yes.
course, are Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson. I know Landon's expected to play. He's been one of the better guards in the NFL this year. Like you were saying, the run game's electric, and run game comes from the guards. So, if he is out there, that's huge. If he's not able to play or not playing at 100%, especially having to line up with Chris Jones possibly straight across from him, that's going to get a little dangerous. And then Lane Johnson may just well be one of the best tackles in the whole league. I think he's also expected to play. A lot of their injury report, honestly, is people resting. They even say it. They say, elbow/rest, which great move. You have a week off. Give your guys a week off. Let them heal. But yeah, if he's not even playing at 100% and you got Frank Clark or Karlaftis coming off the edge against him, that's feeling a lot better too, right? Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
the only other really big one to call out, probably Robert Quinn on defense for them, foot injury. If he's not playing at 100%, that really helps us out quite a bit too. He was part of that sack team. So that'd be really, I mean, you never want to wish illness or injury on anyone, but, it'd be nice too to not have to deal with some of those sack producers. This week will be the most telling, of course, of everything and what's going to happen. But I'd say we're not quite like straight like for like on our injuries to them, but we have about the same amount of injuries as they do. So I think using injuries as an excuse for a loss won't fly simply because they can say, well, these guys were also hurt, that kind of thing. Um, and let's just hope people stay healthy during the game because, man, it was scary losing those three wide receivers against the Bengals. That's for sure.
No one's gonna be 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely getting the receiver core banged up was kind of crucial. Was crucial. I mean, we did pull it out anyway. But yeah, losing Juju. I'm hoping. I mean, he seems to be all smiles at the media coverage. Like he looks like he's ready to play. He's the second most targeted receiver this year behind Kelsey. So it'll be nice to have him out there on the field. And so hopefully we can get those guys staying healthy. Hopefully Kadarius Toney, man. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man. Let's finish the game, bro. Let's finish the game. Like
Dude, he's so electric. He's so fun to watch play when he's 100%. It's just he goes from 100% to 0% in like 2 seconds.
he's
It's
like Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill put together.
right. Yeah, that's a
It's wild,
it's a
man.
great
Like, and I'm
comparison.
rooting for him. Yeah, I'm rooting for
We
him
want him
to
to be
do his
healthy.
thing.
Yeah.
Dude has the
Yeah,
best facial expressions too. I just
I
gotta
love him.
say.
He's fun, man. The kingdom loves him too. Like
Yeah.
the kingdom loves him.
Oh yeah.
He's having fun out there. But yeah, we need you to finish the game. I would say we have to remember this is the number one offense, but we are going against the number three offense. So as you can see on the screen here, both teams went 16-3. Both teams scored 546 points exactly,
Uh-huh.
which is crazy. Both teams are number one overall seed, and then like you post that up there, yeah, you see something like that, you're like, oh yeah, the NFL is definitely scripted. But if you're not a crazy person, you're just like, yeah, both these teams. I mean, that's a weird coincidence, but yeah, both these teams are fairly evenly matched in that regard.
Man, I just yeah. I love the if this is a scripted league, then I keep writing because I love the Chiefs' success during all of this.
I was gonna say no. I'm mad if it's scripted because where we all at between 2000 and 2013?
Where was our love then, man? Where was
Yeah,
our love then? Uh,
right. Um, yeah, both teams aren't super great against the run. That's the thing. So we know that the Eagles are going to rely on the run game. I assume that we're going to use some of the run game. I know it's something we
I,
complain about every week,
I'm
but
no, we can't predict because one week the run game's really successful, so the next week we don't bother with it. It's infuriating to me. Like it actually makes me angry and sick to my stomach thinking about the fact that we have Pacheco, who's fantastic. We have one of the best offensive lines in the game right now, and then McKinnon's proven that he can not just catch out of the backfield, but also run out of the backfield. And then we reactivated CEH, so hopefully we're planning to run. It's
yeah,
just it seems like the enemy looks at like, hey, this would be a great opportunity to run. Hey, Patrick, throw it 60 yards, would you? It's just
Hey, every hat trick possible, I don't know. I feel like it could be just like a crazy book of tricks, that we get to
hmm
see.
yeah. It's
this might be the time. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I think I have so little faith in it because Mahomes was playing hurt against the Bengals, and we weren't bothered to try running. Like
Yeah,
it's not
that was
like
a little
we
off-putting for sure.
it's not like we tried to run and it was just failing because the Bengals outplayed us. We didn't give the ball to our running backs
That's a
during the
fair point.
game at all.
That's a
So
fair point.
it's just it bothers me. All year we've been able to laugh it off because we're still winning or whatever. If we get to this game and we don't put up any run yards and we lose, at what point do you start looking at the enemy and go, dude, it's sorry, you know?
Have
Um,
fun at Baltimore.
right. Good
Oh
luck.
my
Yeah, yeah.
goodness.
Well, yeah. There we go. Send them to the team that depends on a run game, right? I mean,
Right.
Oh my
jeez.
gosh.
It's yeah. I don't know. I'm starting to get to the point where I've had it up to here with our lack of commitment to a run game, especially when we've proven we can run the ball
Mhm.
and it's very successful.
Yeah.
And we just have spikes of brilliance with it, and then we just stop caring about it because
Right.
I don't. Well, no, maybe this is proof that the NFL's scripted. The enemy's probably in there screaming at a board or something, hoping he gets to run the ball, and the NFL script writers are saying, "No, sorry, you have to let Mahomes throw it."
Yeah, and then the other thing about throwing it, the Eagle, Mahomes led in passing yards per game this season, but the Eagles' defense have led in the lowest passing yards allowed per game this year. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to see. Like, and of course, you got to think about who the Eagles' defense, the quarterbacks they were playing against, right? They weren't Mahomes, but they're basically, they're good against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
So if the passing game's not working, are they going to make that switch? Are they going to have the confidence to make that switch? They're like, okay, we can't rely on this, and then switch over to Pacheco, switch over to McKinnon, and we activated CEH. Maybe get him a few snaps in. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's. I do hope we adapt, right? Especially with them having such brilliant pass defense that they do. It's It'll be fun.
How is their rush defense as compared to their pass defense?
Let
I
me
don't know
let
this off
me
the top of my
yeah, let
Neither
me
head.
pull
one,
this up.
neither one is particularly great. I think we both scored on like the lower end of the season, so their rush defense they're not great against the run.
Yeah,
So they're better against
rushing
the pass against the run.
rushing defense. Wow, they're actually below us. Aren't are they? Or
Yeah,
am I just not seeing them? Yeah,
Well,
it's
run the ball, coach. New game
run the
plan.
ball.
Here we go.
Um, Wait, this is
Play
defense,
action and
right?
Pacheco all night long.
Just all game long. Yeah.
Right?
Don't even put Mahomes out there. Just McKinnon and Pacheco, right? With Michael Burton taking the snap. It'll be great. Yeah, they stop touchdowns, but they do give up quite a few yards. They yards per carry is 4.6. That puts them about middle of the pack. Touchdowns, they've allowed 15. Not brilliant by any means. Definitely in the lower end of things when it comes to running. And then rush yards, they're pretty much towards the bottom of the barrel there. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Looking at this, it's they're below the Chiefs. They're not great at it. Definitely not anything compared to what their receiving defense is like.
absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you start really breaking this down, it's really interesting how these teams match up. I think this is probably the best matchup we could have asked for coming into for Super Bowl this year, and it's the two number one seeds, right, for most of the year. I
Right.
would say. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for this game. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Yeah, we've got some crazy looking stats. I just think the scores and the records are so crazy to me. They're both number one seeds. Both teams have 6 Pro Bowlers. Both teams have a Kelsey. Like, like
Right,
Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh.
man. Yeah. Well, and I think the one thing that's not talked about enough, unfortunately, compared to the Kelsey brothers, is it's also the first time two black quarterbacks are playing against each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Which
100%.
for sure.
hugely,
First
yeah,
time.
huge there.
You know
Um,
what's crazy about that too, and we're definitely gonna dive more into that. It's the first two black quarterbacks, the youngest quarterbacks, both from Texas and both from the Big 12. Like
that's
There you
right.
to
go.
Okay,
ever
because
play in
Hurts
this.
was, yeah. Okay.
All
There's so many
those. So you want to
storylines
talk
for
about
this game.
scripted, y'all?
Yeah,
Talk about scripted. We went all the way back to orchestrate this one.
yeah. There's so many. Yeah, I know. They gave so it's like they went to the hospital. Roger Goodell showed up, and as soon as Mahomes was born. So listen, we have a proposition
Right,
for you.
right. I would like to meet you. I would like to introduce you to the Hertz family. Now, here's what's going to happen in about 20 years.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, y'all.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that. It's a story. I would say it is okay. And let me not disparage. I love the Kelsey brothers, right? I love the Kelsey brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's great. It is not the big. Their story is not the biggest story to me. I
No,
actually would give that.
No.
I mean, I do think some of these other storylines are a little bit bigger. I think probably the Andy. I would put the Kelsey Bowl third. I would put the black quarterback thing maybe tied at first and second with Andy Reid. But I will say, coach versus his former team in the Super Bowl has happened 5 times. This will be the 5th time.
yeah,
First time since Pete Carroll went against the Patriots in 2013. So that's happened before. Of course, this is cool. I mean, we all love Big Red, so it is a cool story. But yeah, this is the first time. That two black quarterbacks have gone against each other in the Super Bowl. Now, there's a number of factors with that I think have led to why that is. I mean, there's a lot of historical factors, right? Going back to people not believing that the black man had the same mental capacity to play that position.
Right.
Um,
Be a quarterback to play that
yeah,
position, to lead
yeah,
team. Right.
yeah, and luckily,
So
that's. Oh, you're cutting out just a little bit, Hong. I'm sorry. We can hold on. We can hold back real quick.
yeah. Hopefully, she comes back soon.
Yeah,
No, I mean, like you're saying, it's just insane. Like I think for a lot of people our age, at least, and I'm also purely. It needs to be made clear. I'm coming at this from somebody who was raised white, middle class, in an incredibly white area, right? But a
the
lot
way you
of
worded that.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
but yeah.
Uh, so it cannot be stressed enough, and so please correct me if I'm out of line here. It feels like for me, where a lot of the exposure of like race and sports came from was always in movies, and those movies always depicted it, back in the civil rights era during Martin Luther King's marches and all that kind of stuff. Like that's when the depiction is. So it's almost out of our minds, at least in this area, where it feels like it's what's the right way to say this without sounding like a complete ass? It's something that's in the past,
Yeah,
which is obviously not true whatsoever. We all know this
sure,
simply because of the issue with head coaches everywhere. But
sure.
it blew my mind, hearing that stat
Yeah,
that this is the first time two black quarterbacks, and then of course, no surprise whatsoever, the main focus has been on the Kelsey Bowl. So it's like it's just such an eye opener, and I'm glad it's being talked about a lot more as we do get closer and closer. I think it's something that people just haven't woken up to really is like the realization. It's like, hey, the things that happen and remember the Titans, that kind of stuff's still going on, and it's important to know that.
absolutely.
And
But
so, yeah,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead, sorry.
No, please, you.
But I will say, yeah, and I think the Kelseys, they're America's sweetheart right now.
Yeah.
They got the podcast. This has been kind of the story all year long. I can say, one reason why I think this might not be as big of a story
Mm,
is the black quarterback has come a long way. And we've had quite a few black quarterbacks. We've only had now it's funny we've only had about 9 actually play in a Super Bowl. Do
hmm
you want to know do you have an idea of who some of those were? Do you know who the first one to win one was?
Well, the first one to win one was the guy out of the Washington Redskins. Oh, God,
Doug Williams.
yeah, I
Yes, sir.
was okay. I'm glad I was going to say the right name there, because I was like, crap, what was his name?
I heard you struggling.
Right, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to really make an
Yeah,
ass out of myself now.
yeah.
Yeah, no, he was the first one to win it in the '80s, but then it wasn't even until the mid 2000s when
Steve McNair.
yeah, another one, yeah, made it
Yeah,
there, McNair. And then,
yeah. Donovan
yeah,
McNabb.
Donovan McNabb,
So
and
in
then
order, yeah, in
please,
order, it was Doug Williams. He won it. He also won the MVP. Steve McNair was the next quarterback, and that was in Super Bowl 39. They did not, or sorry, Super Bowl 34. I believe that was against the one you remember against the greatest show on turf. That was
yeah,
against Kurt Warner. Then Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb
Donovan
in
McNabb,
Super Bowl 39 against the Patriots.
and
I want
losing,
you to notice a
unfortunately.
pattern here. I want you to notice a pattern here, okay?
Oh,
Because
please.
I keep going down this list, okay? Super Bowl, uh, I forgot what the L stands for.
50. It's
XLV
50.
11.
Yeah. So
XL is 50. No, we're not at Super. This is 40 something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So XL would be 10 minus 50, so it'd be 40
Oh, okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Colin Kaepernick, San Francisco, lost to the Ravens and the Harbaugh Bowl. Two brothers going against each other,
Mhm.
but at coaches. Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And then Russell Wilson again lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots against Tom Brady. You noticing the pattern here.
Mhm.
Cam Newton um, lost Super Bowl 50 against Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes won Super Bowl.
Oh no.
What was that? 54,
Yeah.
and
And then
then we
lost.
lost Super Bowl 55 against Tom Brady. So, so I would say okay. So I do want to make just kind of something we do have to consider. And I think that is it. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl, and
Uh-huh.
only 2 teams make it. And a lot of the times, you see a lot of these greatest of all time guys. So you get run into a John Elway, you run into a Peyton Manning, you run into a Tom Brady. So I think that does play a little bit of factor because
Mhm.
it's a very small percentage of people who make it to the Super Bowl every year. It's only been what I think 60 quarterbacks who've started in the Super Bowl. It's something along those lines.
That
So,
makes about sense, yeah. Because if you'd factor in the fact that Tom Brady was in half of them, uh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that does play a factor. But as far as like, it did take a while for the African Americans to get an opportunity. But as far as like recently, we're seeing some progress, man. We're seeing uh we had 11 starting in this year in a week. That was the most in a week period in NFL history. We had 19 black quarterbacks starting games at some point this year. Um, 10 of the league's 32 starting quarterbacks were black in the 2020 season. If you think about it, I tried to get the exact number, but we've had plenty of them go in the first round as well. A lot of them being a number one overall seed, where it's like, or number one overall pick, like someone like a Cam Newton, or I think a Jameis Winston was the first. In on a different perspective, like as the coaches, for example, where we only had 3 black head coaches this year, and I don't have the number of like in the last 10 years, but it's not a lot. We talk about this almost every week, where it's always like some issue where they couldn't get hired, or they only had one season and then they were used as a scapegoat. I mean, I'm happy for D'Amico Ryans. Man, he on that Houston, man. We was complaining about Houston a couple weeks ago when they let go Lovie Smith. So
yeah,
I think that's the part of the game I want to see improve on. I do think it's to me. So what I say all that to say this, I'm sorry to kind of ramble.
No, please.
I think this is a testament of how far we've come at that position.
Yeah. No,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're right. I mean, I remember just even in the 90s, you know, the whole attitude around it in race when it came to quarterback. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, anyone can play any of the other positions, but you know, quarterback was always, you know, the domain of the white guy, right? And it was just it seemed like there was just that's how it was, that's how it worked,
Right.
kind of thing. And head coach is a very similar thing to it. And just like for that attitude to exist even in the 90s, and then things started to really break down when we entered the 2000s, and then since about 2010, I'm looking at the list here. About half of the people who have won MVP have been black and have been black quarterbacks, other than Adrian Peterson in 2012 being the running back. If you account for the fact that since 2010, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning have won it multiple times, factor that element in, half have been black quarterbacks who have won it. And that's a crazy improvement because before then, Steve McNair, and that's it. You know, I mean, it changed huge when it came to that. It's not an acceptable answer, but I think one thing that we will start to see happen too when it comes to the coaching position is the composition and makeup of race and coach seems to also follow the composition and race and makeup of the NFL. Throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, even when there were black NFL players, there weren't a huge amount of them. They tended to play running back, wide receiver, you know, those kind of roles. As that role has expanded in sports, you know, 10 years later down the line, those individuals do become coaches. They become commentators. The people who tend to be, it seems like the best kind of coach for football, and it makes sense. It almost seems to always be quarterback, or also commentators seems to be quarterback. Those are the you know the role that goes on to do that kind of performance when it comes to it. So you know, we might start seeing that shift over time. It's just it's so silly that we have to wait. You know,
it's taking longer than you would think it should.
It should, yeah, exactly. And you're right. They're organizations that have problems. The Cowboys won't hire a black coach. You know, we've seen that in their history. I'm sure Jerry Jones hates the fact that he, you know, has Dak Prescott there. For however much longer they even do have Dak Prescott. The Houston Texans have a long history of mistreating, you know, black head coaches. And then, of course, there's this whole thing with Brian Flores still going on with his court case pending against the NFL. So,
yes, but he did get a job today as a defensive coordinator. I believe, what was it, the Vikings?
That sounds right. Yes. Here, let me check.
And I'm glad he's not blackballed in the league. You know, black or no. I'm sorry. I really wasn't trying to make no look like pun or anything. Sorry, the way I emphasized it made it sound like that, but that wasn't the intention. But yeah, you're right. I forgot that's still an active case. So that's interesting to see how that'll play out.
Well, and what's even more interesting to me is the fact that like he was rumored to be in like the final kind of race, if you will, for Cardinals head coach, and he actually withdrew from consideration to that to be a defensive coordinator still. So I think that speaks volumes about
Hmm.
how he felt his chances are, even though he was on that final list, how he felt his chances were to get the job as Cardinals head coach. So much so that he would rather take a defensive coordinator position he knows he's going to get than risk trying to become a head coach for a team that, honestly, if he was head coach of, would probably be incredibly successful.
They had the pieces, man. It was weird how that felt. That train, like if you, I mean, I know you joined us. I guess was it this year, man? I guess this is
It was about a year
this,
ago, a little over a
yeah,
year ago, I think.
a
Yeah.
little bit over a year ago. Yeah. So, I think before that, me and Hong, we were really, I don't want to say high on the Cardinals, but we were like, that team could be good. We might see that team in multiple
Hmm.
playoff scenarios, and boy, have the wheels fallen off of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's
So,
if they
yeah, the
can
pieces
get
were there.
if they can get the right leader in that room, they're going to be incredibly successful. I like making fun of Kyler Murray just because of that contract, which was out of his control anyways. But he does have the potential to be a really good quarterback. I think the fact that he's short is a non-issue. We've seen short quarterbacks be incredibly successful in this league. Drew Brees and Russell
Russell
Wilson
Wilson.
alone, yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the only thing people ever really criticize when it comes to him, outside of the whole contract debacle.
I think
So
it's his attitude, man. I mean, that's a whole that
mm,
off-season discussion. We could really get into
yeah,
that, but
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think
we're
there's
kind of getting sidetracked here, aren't we? Huh? Oh
yeah,
boy.
there's a lot more going on with Kyler Murray that would take maybe a whole show to discuss.
Right. Uh,
um, but yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
I mean, rein it back. It's like it's great to just see this kind of development happen.
yeah, it shows how far we've come, and again, I think we'll likely see more. I think again, like we'll probably see Mahomes in another Super Bowl. And it'll be that whole discussion again where you've got like a perennial all star taking one of the slots. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's like you were just saying, it's like who were all these guys losing to? They were losing to
Tom
Tom
Brady,
Brady. Yeah.
three of
Well,
them lost
now
to Tom Brady.
we have the next Tom Brady, hopefully, and so hopefully
Another
it'll.
reason to blame Tom Brady on my misery as a sports fan. No, I'm just kidding. I can't.
Oh man, I'm still fully on board with the theory that he's only retiring so he can skip training camp. He's not actually retiring, so
Yeah, I
that's
think he's
that's
coming back.
uh
Miami, lock it in.
49ers, hey.
Yeah,
Um, no, it's great. So that's the first that we really have to celebrate. It's what I've been talking to people in my life about, because it's news to them even, so it's what needs to be talked about. But all the other storylines too. I mean, just the amount of coaching family tree that's so intermingled here.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. Andy Reid's coached half of the coaches in this NFL. I feel it's just
yeah,
I mean, absolutely insane, or has been connected to him in some way, shape, or form.
yeah. He got the biggest. And yeah, of course, these are his two big franchises. He got the biggest applause when he walked on stage from both fans. So that was cool to see. Like just to see his kind of reach in this league and like his effect on it, like whether it's coaches or players or fans. Like, and there's a lot of love for Big Red out here, so it
Mhm.
was great to see.
Yeah. I guess the question really does start to become though, when it is around him, if he wins this year, does he retire? Uh, I,
Doesn't sound like he's planning
right.
to.
And
Yeah,
I think that's just one of those things that's going to be talked about until he does finally retire. He's getting up there in age, of course, and after a certain point, there's only so many more ways you can win, or what you can do to win. I don't see him going. I'd put no stock in any of the things I see on Twitter about it being is this Reed's last year? Is this the final hurrah? Is all this kinds of. He's doing fine. He has no reason to retire right now.
right.
He's got one of the best teams in the league. He's got one of the best GMs in the league. He's surrounded by constant success. He got run out of Philly because things were just going bad in Philly, and that's reasonable. If something like that started happening at the Chiefs, yes, okay. I see him retiring. Coach doesn't need to retire when he's on top. It's not like a player. I feel like a coach can fizzle out. So I think he's going to be around for a while, and I just hope
Yeah.
people like kind of come to that realization because I haven't seen a lot on Twitter, but I've seen it enough for it to be a topic for me to want to even talk about.
Yeah. I think what I think is going to keep him is Mahomes, and the reason I
Mm.
say this is because he's a quarterback built for Andy Reid's creativity.
Uh,
Like he can do those things. So I can see maybe at least for the next 3 years those two competing for championships. I think he likes being able to do the things he wish he could have done with the McNabb or Alex Smith or Michael Vick. So
yeah, I mean, dude, I shudder to think what would have happened if he had had a healthy Michael Vick,
right.
a healthy pre-prison Michael Vick, as yeah, Reed with a Michael Vick is exactly what we're seeing right now. I feel.
Absolutely.
It's just great. It's human cheat code on the field, massive success, and
Absolutely.
it's nothing but fun. I,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been good. Oh, I got a message from Hong. So
yeah.
if you guys are wondering where she went, looks like she's lost her Wi-Fi here. The school's Wi-Fi has Discord blocked. Of course it does. Oh no.
Oh, why wouldn't it? All right. Yeah, so she won't be able to rejoin us, unfortunately, because she doesn't have good cell
Yeah.
reception where she's at, and the school that she's in has it blocked.
Well,
So,
yeah, I was going to ask what else, if there was anything else you wanted to cover, because I think we at least got a big chunk of kind of the nitty gritty of the game, at least what
mhm.
we think was going to happen on the field, what's happening around the field, our Super Bowl memories, the historical meaning of this game. We've definitely covered a lot. I was wondering if you had anything on the list, on the agenda.
Yeah, so other than the Super Bowl itself, and of course we'll have our predictions here shortly, I did put a rest of the best together, if for no other reason than just asking you what you've thought about the,
Yes.
the Pro Bowl, because I know you watched it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was too busy watching other sports,
You know
so.
what? I think it's a good start. With the Pro Bowl. The issue I have with it, so y'all, the Pro Bowl was this weekend. I'm sure everyone knows. I'm sure very few people watched because, especially like you said, other sports was on. There was the whole Kyrie Irving thing going on. I'm sure that took up most of your
Even I
sports.
heard about
Mm,
that.
Right.
And I don't
Yeah.
pay attention to the NBA at all.
Yeah. But yeah, the Pro Bowl. I checked it out because my friend said the dodgeball was pretty interesting, so I watched that first. Because most of it's on YouTube, right? I don't have the NFL Network, so I have to
Hmm.
catch most of the stuff like that on YouTube. But yeah, I saw the dodgeball looked like it was fun. Then they had like this weird game where they it was like a triathlon type thing. Like the first game, they had to take turns catching a balloon and make sure the other one wasn't busting on it. It was kind of like you
Huh.
ever go to like a beer Olympics?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, it was it sounded like one
A
of those
little
games
bit
you
of
would see
that.
there.
I love that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. No,
man.
but I think it's fun. The most interesting game, the flag football was low key kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie to you there. Just because it's just I mean, they're playing, they're having fun, and there's part of me happy to see these guys getting a little bit of a break after the season, have fun together or whatever. But as
Hmm.
far as like a game that's interesting to watch on TV, it's not all that interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. But one thing I did find interesting was the kicker tic tac toe. So they
I'm
had
sure I would have been in heaven.
bro, but it was low key interesting because
Was
it's
it?
like, yeah, man, because they had a tic tac toe board set up on like kind of where you would imagine a goalpost, and so the kickers take turns. AFC kicker and NFC kicker take turns having to do like a precision kick into the spot they want to hit for like a letter, right? So
And
I was like, that's
what
interesting. That's an
was it
interesting
the
concept.
was it like the football was on a tee, or did they have somebody snapping and holding it?
They had somebody snapping and holding it.
Oh, really?
Or they had
Okay.
somebody holding it, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was yeah, that was a cool one. They had the best catch that was like supposed to be kind of like the dunk contest, and that was cool too. That was
Hmm.
alright. I would say what I think they need to do is something I've said for maybe years. I don't know what it looks like contractually, like having these players come out during the off season, but I really think this should be something you do in the after the season, like before the draft, maybe like during the
Well,
uh
it's so that way, just alone, you get the Super Bowl players there too.
yeah, exactly. 100%. That's what I'm saying. You get the Pro Bowl, you get those guys who were selected first, then most of the time opt out, or all the time opt out because they're actually playing in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You get those guys. You still keep it in Hawaii, or even if you want to do Vegas, you could do it something like that. But you give us something in that gap between the Super Bowl and the draft, where there's not a whole lot going on, and we're a little bit more thirsty for a little bit more NFL action, right? So I think a lot more people would tune in if you did it that way. Which, to be fair, Thursday's viewing of the skills challenges was the highest rated for the Pro Bowl in 5 years. So they're on to
Yeah.
something there. But I would also say if they want to keep it going, that's the move I would make. Of course, they're not listening to me. The other thing I would make is the skills challenge thing. The actual flag football they did open to the fans, but the skills challenge was closed off. They did it in like their
Huh.
like practice facility or something. I would have opened that to the fans too.
Yeah, that's
Um
interesting.
yeah. Third thing, make sure it's cheap. Just cheap. So like
Oh
people
yeah.
who can't make like a NFL game in a regular season would probably love to bring their kids to the Pro Bowl, come meet their favorite player for like $150 or something like that. I know they won't go that low, but maybe something cheaper than what general NFL tickets cost.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Well, because
Get that fan engagement.
they've already made it so much more accessible now that it's in Vegas instead of Hawaii.
Right.
I mean, getting to Hawaii is just a nightmare
Sure.
for anyone who needs to travel on a budget. But Vegas is infinitely more accessible for that. So, you're right. It would be great to see them start trying to do something in order to, yeah, make it a more fan accessible experience.
Sure. And the last thing I would say about it, this is not super. I don't know how many people would be interested in this, but they did a Madden. They did a Madden face
Madden
off
turn.
between
Oh, beautiful.
between players in the NFC and players in the AFC. So they had Tyreek Hill and Sauce Gardner represent the AFC, and they had Micah Parsons and was it CeeDee Lamb? I can't remember who the other guy
Uh,
was representing the NFC.
that's
Um,
fantastic.
the coach, so the coach for the AFC was I'm assuming a famous Twitch streamer, and I do apologize if his name is um man, I'm sorry, I should
Here,
have
I'll
had this
just
pulled
pull
up,
it
but it was
up.
like
Yeah.
too much pizza or something like that. Uh Twitch streamer pizza. But the coach of the NFC was Spice Adams. And the do you want to know who the host and the color commentators were?
Huh. Who?
The color commentator was your boy Marshawn Lynch.
Hell yeah.
And that whole thing was just a wonderful hot mess. Like it was just so entertaining from the aspect of Spice Adams talking mad trash over to Tyreek Hill and Sauce Gardner getting them mad, and then Marshawn just saying all this crazy stuff, and the Fox host trying to keep it professional, but you got Marshawn as your co-host, and it was a hot mess. That was very entertaining from a spectacle at that point. I don't know if that's the type of entertainment the NFL's aiming for necessarily, but
Oh, but that's
that's
the
on
kind of
YouTube.
entertainment I'd watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay. Yeah.
definitely
It's Yo
recommend
Boy
checking it out.
Pizza. Yeah.
Yo Boy Pizza.
Yeah. He's a Madden streamer. So that's
Yeah, Yo
awesome.
Boy Pizza was their coach.
Justin
I thought it was
Jefferson and
cool.
Micah Parsons versus
Justin
Tyreek
Jefferson,
Hill and
that's right.
Sauce. All right.
Yes. Yeah, so that was I was like that was a nice added touch. So yeah, that's all. That's my thoughts on the Pro Bowl. Yeah, the Manning Bowls. Yeah, they were making their dry dad jokes they always do. But yeah,
Yeah, for me, it's just like when it comes to the Pro Bowl, it's not just the fact that, the Super Bowl players miss out for obvious reasons. It's that other people can just skip it, you know? Which I don't blame
right.
them, but
Josh Allen, Joe
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow and Josh Allen skipped it to go do, whatever.
They both
Um,
should have been there.
those are that's 1, 2, and 3 when it comes to AFC quarterbacks.
Yeah,
For the best AFC quarterbacks are missing out or skipping the Pro Bowl. Like
yeah.
it's not a Pro Bowl anymore at that point. It's whatever because I'm trying to think like I know with the MLB I can't think of players if I've ever heard of the top dogs skipping out just because whatever reason. You watch the NBA a lot more. Do players ever just skip out on that after being voted in?
That's become weird too. I don't watch the NBA. I don't really get into it too hard until after the NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
But the All Star Weekend usually is around that time, and they've changed how they select the teams,
Okay.
so that's that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's there's guys there. It's almost the same but different. Where there's guys there that shouldn't really be there, and then there's guys
Popularity
there
contest
who, yeah,
versus.
who you feel like should have been there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. You want to at the end of the day for the All Star games where it's a Pro Bowl or MLB, NBA, NHL, you want to get these stars there. So
Yeah.
just they got to be better about hopefully making that more of an incentive for these guys. So yeah,
Something the MLS does, so I can continue my tradition of talking about why soccer is a better sport. Um,
right.
but something the MLS does that I would be interesting to see them work into this is the MLS actually puts together, and again, it's also a blatant popularity contest, of course, but they instead just field one team and then they bring in another league's team to play against the MLS's Pro Bowl team. So I think it would almost be interesting instead of, having like an NFC versus AFC is like we put together one, Pro Bowl team and then I don't know, bring in the XFL's championship team, right? And have
I
them
don't
play
want to
against
see
each other.
that.
I think
I
that would
don't
be
want to see that.
I think that would be freaking awesome. The problem is, this is why I think other sports have such a huge advantage when it does come to popularity with their all-star games. Is NFL is a incredibly dangerous sport, and so the thought of putting your best players up against random XFL players who may not have the best constraint in the world or whatever, and risking an injury in a non important game, frankly, is quite a bit different than a home run derby for the MLB or basketball 5-on-5 kind of thing going on. So I always understand why the Pro Bowl in the NFL is not that popular, but man, could you imagine getting like the 11 best offensive players, 11 best defensive players on a field against an XFL team and just seeing what happens?
The XFL team will get slaughtered.
They'd be
That's all that's
destroyed.
gonna happen.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, or bring in like an NFL Europe team or whatever. I know Mexico and Japan, I think, have pretty popular domestic American football leagues. Bring in some of their players. I think it'd be hilarious.
Right. But yeah, I see we got the coaching news and the retirement on there.
That was
If you,
purely in case we needed to fill some time.
yeah, no worries. I think we're kind of running against it here.
Yep,
So I think those would be good ones for the off season for next week
absolutely.
because I'm still down to do a show. Obviously, we gotta do a recap of the game.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, if we want to do that as off season news for there. But yes, Brady, we will have to talk about the greatest player of our all time.
Of all
Like we'll
time.
have a good send off
Yeah.
allegedly to Tom Brady.
Yeah,
So
we may have to wait till September to
Armar,
make sure he actually is gone.
exactly. But I do want to get back to the Super Bowl and go ahead and jump with our predictions.
Yes.
And Hong sent hers in the chat. Let me see. So she said, and she's predicting a pretty high scoring, which I've heard a few people predict a high scoring, but she's got 38-27 Chiefs. That's interesting to me.
38-27. You know
Do you
what?
think
I
it's gonna be a
like
high
it.
scoring
I
like
think
that?
it will be a lot high scoring. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um.
Okay.
Yeah. You go ahead though. Because I need to come up with something.
So I think again, I think we're built to either start fast and we're also built to come from behind, but I'm hoping we start fast because if we start fast, it's going to be hard for the other team to come back. Like they just don't have the same passing ability that we do, right? Uh Jalen Hurts is a great player. He's a runner. He's not as prolific at the pass game yet. Or well, he probably won't
he's
be
a
as
Lamar
Mahomes.
Jackson, not a Patrick Mahomes, which
Yeah.
is not a bad thing. I want to be very clear. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson
Oh yeah.
wins
Michael
for a
Irving.
good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Irving said this, and I agree with him. The fact that he's here is proof that that style of play does work,
Yes.
does win you games. So yeah, but I think in order to combat that, you just want to make sure you start fast because I know our team likes to come from behind, and that's our thing, and we like to do that. Against this defense, I'd rather not.
Right.
So
We want to get ahead.
what? Yeah, I think this battle will be won in the trenches. So we have two amazing offensive lines going against two amazing defensive lines.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see who wins those battles, but I think we come out on top, and I think it'll be 27-20 Chiefs.
27-20. I'm going above Hunghaven. I'm you know what? I totally get where you're coming from. Like the trenches will make the deciding factor of this game. But if the offensive trenches win, that means a high scoring game. If the defensive trenches win, that means a low scoring game. I think it's more likely that the offensive side of the trenches on both teams will win. I mean, Chris Jones is great, but Kelsey and someone else are going to double team him all game long and keep him under wraps to some extent. And we're going to have a similar thing on the Chiefs side where, our absolutely amazing offensive line and number one rated center, should we remind the world again, because Creed Humphrey is the man, the myth, the legend, and yet again, a Creed will slaughter the people from Philadelphia. All I'm saying will, be what sets the pace here. I'm going 44-34.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think this is going to be probably the best scoring games in years, so in Super Bowl years. So I'll be interested to see that.
Yeah. No, it's just, I'm going to start running with the whole line of like, this is the first time Chiefs versus Philly in the Super Bowl. First time that, Rocky faced a Creed in a fight, he lost. Same thing's going to happen here. So that's all we need to know, right? That's how it works. Well, since I know how much you love the whole Rocky thing being talked about.
Oh, I like Rocky. It's a movie, but yeah.
Oh no, it's with the statue. Just leave the statue alone.
I will say, one thing that's maybe good juju in our favor as far as messing with statues. I saw somebody put Chiefs gear on the Fawn statue in Milwaukee.
Perfect.
He's a Chiefs fan. That works for us.
Works. Hey, and I like Jason Kelsey's theory on the podcast where he's saying it's got to be a Philadelphia fan doing it.
Bro, I don't think it was until this most recent one. Yeah. Come on. Y'all couldn't even get a real just Chiefs t-shirt. That means you didn't have one. That means you just grabbed a red shirt and wrote "Go Chiefs."
They probably bought a Bengals thing, convinced the Bengals were going to win, and didn't even think twice about it, and had to panic at the last second.
Yeah. You could have put Chiefs Kingdom on there. I would have believed in more. I'm like, this is totally a setup. This is a But anyway,
this is just one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Is that bad T-shirt just thrown on there?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's funny. It's funny to think about. They just that's some lazy shit.
That's just a little lazy.
And this statue has no security, so that's even funnier. So I don't know. Anyway. Go Chiefs!
Stuff. Go
Chiefs gonna win.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, find us on State of the Kingdom, SOT Kingdom KC on Twitter, State of the Kingdom Podcast on YouTube. Find our Discord. We post it throughout our Twitter. I've been loving the engagement on Twitter lately, y'all. I'm loving reading your comments, tweets, and everything. Keep it up. We'd love to have you on our Discord. So please. If you listen to the show, you've been engaging with us on Twitter, we'd love to have you there as well. We'll read your messages on the show. And The Almighty Raw at The Almighty Raw on Instagram and Twitter for myself. Billy, where can they find you?
Yeah, Chef Doubles on both Twitter and YouTube. I've been streaming a lot more on YouTube, so please find me there. Love to interact with people if they come into the chat. And then, of course, Twitter. I'll be live tweeting the whole game. So be a lot of fun.
You'll be at a party. I don't know if you might. The Twitter page might be silent. I might be too nervous.
You might be too nervous. Yeah, man. Yeah. So what are you doing? We didn't even talk about this. I know I'm having a party. Some friends coming over, some family coming over. Nothing too crazy though. But what about you?
At the time of this podcast, I'm slightly undecided. I have 4 different options. The one I'm leaning toward is me and my friend have found this Chiefs bar in Dallas. We have a few of them. Now the most famous one is Wizards. Everyone knows Wizards. Everyone
Mm.
that comes out here, that's like our bar, right? That's our big Charlie's, Philadelphia fans or Philadelphia residents, right? Ours is Wizards in Dallas. But it's not really my vibe.
Yeah.
There's another one that's a little bit of more how do I say this? Like our crowd, like our age group,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
more
yeah.
millennials and type stuff. Uh it's called Arrowhead Sports Grill. So that may be where I end up. So
Right
if
on.
you guys live in Texas, you happen to catch this podcast, you can find me there. Let's grab a beer. Let's shout out cheer on our team.
Yeah, hopefully you guys won't
And
get
yeah.
inconvenienced with a little bit of ice this weekend and, just shut the
No, it's
state
pretty
down again.
warm. Yeah, I know, right? No, yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. But
Oh,
yeah.
perfect. Yeah, so there you
But
go. It's Arrowhead, what is it? Arrowhead Grill and what?
it's called Arrowhead Sports Grill.
Arrowhead
And the
Sports
other
Grill.
bar is Wizards.
Wizards.
There's also, if I could make a quick shout out, Nodding Donkey, Goodbye Horses, and Benders those are all technically KU bars, but they'll be showing the Chiefs
Yeah,
game.
there'll be
I
Chiefs
guarantee
fans.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
Excellent. Well,
all right.
look forward to talking next week and interacting with everyone on Twitter and so on when the game comes
All right.
around.